So, part two. We were getting a bit serious then. So
We've had to top up.
we've had to have a top up. We've had to let the wine flow a bit.
Not that we're alcoholics, really.
No, I'm working on it, but
Although I have to say, I do love wine.
Oh.
I do love wine, so I enjoy a glass of wine.
wine and tea.
Yeah, I think I might enjoy wine a little bit more.
Do you
than
think
tea.
so?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
If I'm honest. Although I drink more tea than wine, obviously.
I should hope so.
Because like I said, I'm not an alcoholic yet.
Working on it. It's a work in progress. So where were we?
Well, I think we hadn't really covered our whole reasons for. Although I think we did cover a fair bit of it. I think I shared all of my emotions, not my emotions, but what drove me to make this decision. But how we didn't talk about how we see it. How does it look to us? What we're planning on doing? Because in a nutshell, we're planning on traveling the world, hopefully visit all of the destinations on our bucket list. Although I have to say, I don't officially have a bucket list because I don't like bucket lists, because it feels like once you've ticked everything off that bucket list, there's nothing left. Whereas
It's a bit like goals. Goals are like that, and people hit their goals, and then
what's next?
They feel very flat about it.
Yeah, and I've always said to you, I believe that it's about the journey, because that is the biggest part of the experience. It's not what's at the end, it's about
the journey.
And yeah, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be funny moments, there's going to be upsetting
things we
moments.
laugh about now, where things went wrong. We were in Mexico a couple of years ago, and I have to tell you, it's got to be the worst boat trip I've ever been on in my life.
Me too. And I've been on a fair few.
I mean, as soon as we arrive, they tell us the local cartel has cut someone's limbs off and put the torso on the in the driveway. So, right, that was a nice experience. So we end up on this boat because Debbie always wanted to swim with turtles.
I was promised to be swimming with turtles.
So we end up on this boat, which was, it's so funny. It was so bad, it's funny. Well, I'm sure if it wasn't run by the Mexican cartel, it just felt like it. And I wasn't going to argue with them. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, all I could do is give dirty looks and not pay the tip at the end. What was your experience? I mean, it was horrendous.
Well, it's the only boat trip I've been on in 30 plus degrees where they have no water on board.
I had to argue for a bottle of water.
Yeah, all they wanted to give us was tequila.
Yes.
And yes, as you can see, we like a drink, but not in the blazing heat in the middle of the day when you're going to get in the sea, which is quite choppy, by the way, to swim with turtles. So
hold on a minute. The sea wasn't out at the ocean. The sea was in the harbour.
Yeah, we didn't actually leave the harbour.
We didn't leave the harbour.
And there were hundreds, and I'm not exaggerating, hundreds and hundreds of other boats with all of their diesel going into the water. How I expected anything to be living in there, I don't know. I was obviously having a very blonde moment. And I actually contributed to that. And I feel a bit ashamed about that, actually, that, we paid a lot of money to go on that trip. And we are partly to blame for all of that loss of marine life now. And I am a bit ashamed of that. But I honestly believed that I was going to be swimming with turtles. They showed me amazing photographs. Of course they did, because they were good salespeople. But the reality was there was nothing living in that sea, nor was it ever going to be in that section of sea, because of the abuse that it was facing every day, day after day.
And that's why I mean, I know we've discussed it. We want this channel to be a true reflection of what we come across.
Yes.
So we're not lying.
We're very truthful.
We're not blowing it out of proportion.
Yeah.
Be it good or bad, because one thing I love about Debbie is that she can look at us. I'm terrible. I walk into a hotel. I go, bloody hell! What have you booked this for? Like it's Debbie's fault because I was too lazy to book it myself. And she'll point out the good stuff as well, and I go, well, actually, you're right there. So one of the things I love about Debbie is that she's honest. There's total freedom in her opinion. There's no this is how I'm going to be, and I can be a bit like that. So please excuse me. And I'm learning to be less critical when there is sunshine and a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow when it's raining on that day. So that's something I think we're going to do as a channel.
Yes, it is. I want the channel to be all about authenticity, real, because we are living in an era of AI now, and AI is taking over the world. It's producing videos probably similar to ours,
Which are
probably
magnificent,
of
to
a
be
much
fair.
better quality.
Yeah.
However, they
Because
not
we're not filmmakers, trust me.
yeah, but they're not authentic, and that's what we want. We want our journey to be documented in a very authentic way, a very honest way, and a very giving way, because we want to give to you, hopefully our audience, and it's important to us to be honest and to be transparent. And another thing that we're really, really strongly on about the channel is giving. Our whole ethos is about giving.
So would you say that's why we're doing this? Why we're doing this channel is to share our journey and to be honest about that journey, and to show people that it's not, you don't have to be fearful, and we can overcome challenges that have come along.
No, you can be fearful because it is fearful,
Okay.
but it's about putting everything into perspective. And if we come across a challenge and we manage to find our way out of it, then all the better to tell you guys, because then you don't have to experience that yourself if you're thinking of going along the same route as us, and you will be well armed.
Yes,
And
forewarned. Yeah.
forearmed is forewarned. So that's my hope for the channel. And also going back to the giving side, we are very big on charity, and we want to give back. We don't want to just take from this world. We want to give as much as we can. So our channel will be about charity, and there will be links in our descriptions, because that's what we want. Because what I would like to do is and as much as possible, wherever we go on our journey, is ask that venue who their chosen charity is, who they would like our viewers to give to. Because if everybody gave a little bit more, wouldn't the world be a far better place? And I think that's one of our big goals, isn't it?
Oh, massive
for the
massive.
channel.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah. If we can resolve challenges for others, happy days, and maybe you can help us. I mean, advise us as we go along. It's a two-way street. We're not looking for millions of viewers. We're looking for a family to join us on this journey. We're looking for people. Not everybody's going to like us. That's life. We're looking for people who want to come along on the journey with us and who we can help. And they can point stuff out to us as well in the channel and advise us as we grow and as we become more competent as full-time freedom fighters. That's how it is, because it is about freedom. It's about having a freedom, being able to be free and still have a lifestyle, have a life, not sit in the woods, as I mentioned earlier. So that's important to me.
Yeah. Me too.
And seeing opportunities as we go around the world. I'm going to be looking for opportunities. I mean, Debbie always laughs. I can't help it. I'm always looking for opportunities. And maybe some of those opportunities will help you, and maybe some of those opportunities that you've got will help us.
But also, we are doing this channel from a selfish perspective,
Of
and I'm
course we
not
are.
going to deny that, because it's important for us to look back on it. Because as morbid as it sounds, and I don't want to be morbid at all, but we've already touched briefly earlier in the video about death and the impact that has on loved ones. One day, one of us is not going to be around, and I know, as the potential, if I'm that person who's left around, how much comfort am I going to have from these videos, from enjoying those experiences all over again? Because there's only so much our memory can hold, and you only remember snippets, and you might forget little parts of things. So for me, it's a very selfish thing for us to do, that and for our children and our grandchildren, our great grandchildren, even, you know, because once the videos are made, they're there for life,
Yeah.
and our future generations will be able to look at it and go, "Oh, look at those nutters."
So I'll have to.
Won't they, Ned?
I'll have to lose some weight.
And we both want to lose some weight.
I
And
want.
I'm hoping.
I want to look. I want them to look at me and go, "Oh, he was all right."
Yeah, didn't he grow old gracefully? Exactly. So we're both along the same lines, because this is our first video. We hate ourselves. We're looking at ourselves on camera and we both hate it. But it's just one of those things, I suppose, that you just have to get on with it. But we are also going to try and get a bit fitter and look after ourselves a bit more, because that comes along with this lifestyle that we're after.
Exactly. It's about lifestyle.
And what's our lifestyle in the UK, Patrick? What do we do in the UK?
The thing is, I hate the cold, and Debbie leaves me standing when it comes to hating the cold, because we turn into bears. We hibernate. We hibernate in the winter.
We basically don't leave the house. And how depressing is that?
And when we do go out, it's how many coats do you wear? How many jumpers do you wear? What do you take? How many umbrellas? How many this? How many that?
How miserable is it? For me, it's miserable.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I understand where people love the seasons and the colours and and stuff like that, and the appreciation I get from feeling a warm day because I've had a cold day, and
the landscape is beautiful,
and seeing the sunshine and everything, because it's been raining for a week.
Yeah, but what comes with that is beautiful landscape.
Exactly.
So I agree with you there. It looks pretty.
Yeah, I don't want to sit here and say that I hate England,
No,
because
no.
I don't hate England.
No.
I mean,
I hate the winter.
I've travelled the same as you have over the years, and we've done a lot of travelling together. And the countryside in this country, the beaches in this country, the coastline in this country, the cities in this country can and are amazing if you look at the right bits. And there's, it's the same as any country. There's good and bad in every country. The big thing for us is to go on an adventure and find out these amazing places and look and have our eyes wide open.
But also improve our lifestyle, because that's what it's all about.
I think that's more important than anything.
Yeah, it's currently winter in the UK, and hence, that's helped our decision massively, because we're coming to the end of a winter, and I think that's.
Well, we spent a lot of time last year in Europe.
Yes, but we're coming to the end of a winter now, and that's helped me with my decision making on what we're doing moving forward, because our lifestyle and our health will improve, because we'll be out more, so we'll be more active, so we'll be walking more. So these last few months,
the last couple of years, remember, have given us the taste of it, because we've had a couple of years where we have spent over a couple of months at a time.
Yes, we've been very lucky
in Europe,
to be able
traveling
to
around, driving around, and we've taken the car, and we've enjoyed a certain kind of lifestyle for a period of time.
Yes.
And I think that's the big thing, is that because we've experienced this lifestyle, has really helped us go to the next level.
It's given us a little mini taster, I suppose. We've spent the most we've spent away from the UK in one hit is 8 weeks. So for some people that would be a really long time, and it was like a mini taster for us. But because we've done that, it's helped us in our decision making about how we will travel when we do leave. And we've decided we covered a lot of ground in that 8 weeks. And we saw
thousands and thousands of kilometres.
Yeah, and we've seen lots of amazing places. But what we found with that is, if you do very short visits in each place, it can become very tiring. Even as fit as we are, that's not the way that we want to plan our next journey and our YouTube career. We're planning on staying in one area for a considerable amount of time and making a base in that area, because we feel that would suit our lifestyle better.
And we can experience the culture and the lifestyle of each country, and the pitfalls and the the lovely side and the bad side and all the rest of it, because we're going in open-eyed. I think it's not all going to be smelling of roses.
No, let's hope the cartel isn't around the corner though,
yeah,
ready to
exactly.
chop our
Yeah, again,
arms off.
there's always someone somewhere. So I, as you can tell, I'm more security than Debbie, and that's probably a man thing, I suppose. The experience is important to us, and that's the good stuff and the bad stuff, and that's why we've created this channel, because we have looked on YouTube, and we've looked at other people's channels, of course we have, to see what they're doing, and some of them are marvelous. They are absolutely amazing. Some are awful, and maybe you'll class us as amazing or awful. That will be your choice. But more importantly, to actually find out what it's really like, to actually answer the pitfalls that we've asked. We've asked about the health, we've asked about finances, we've asked about currencies, we've asked about all these questions, and people touch it, but they never ever break it down. Is that correct?
Well, we haven't managed to find it yet, so I think that's a whole area that we have to explore before we leave, because we're not actually leaving the UK for quite a few months yet. It's in the planning, so we're in the very early planning stages. And whilst we're learning about YouTube and all of the huge amount of learning that comes with that, we've also got a lot of learning to do about visas, how long you can stay in each country, how we're going to manage our finances, how we're going to manage healthcare, how we're going to manage life insurances, because
Yes.
a lot of life insurance policies in the UK, if you don't have a UK address as your residence, is null and void.
Yep.
So there's lots and lots that we've got to go and find out, because we've done a YouTube search, and like Patrick said, we haven't found anybody yet that can give us those answers. So we have to actually go away and do that. But what we're hoping is, once we do that and we overcome these problems, we'll share them with you. We won't keep them to ourselves. And I think that's our whole idea about having a membership scheme, isn't it? That you can be part of the family and that you can have all of these benefits, so that you don't have to go away and have the headache of all that time it's going to spend us. It's going to take a lot of time for us to find all of these, answers to these questions. And I think that's going to be really valuable for some of you out there who are considering doing what we do.
Yeah, I agree. Because one of the biggest things about fear I found in life is you fear what you don't know. You fear the questions you have and no answers. So if we can help people to create a freedom lifestyle by facing those fears, facing those questions, and hopefully it doesn't destroy us. I mean, hopefully it doesn't.
It won't.
No, it won't destroy us. I mean, but what I mean is it might be challenging at times. It might be lots of fears and disappointments at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm, like you, really looking forward to facing those challenges and coming up with the answers and resolving it and saying, right, I'm sorry, I've had enough. I want a freedom lifestyle. I want this lifestyle, and I'll fight for it. And I'll fight for what we believe in, because otherwise I'm just going to sit here and you're going to sit here and we're going to get miserable. I know that, because we'll be, if we're lucky enough to live another 20 years or 30 years, why didn't we? What stopped us?
Yes, we'll be in that camp then. And I refuse to be in that camp. And you refuse to be in that camp. So
It's very hard not to be in that camp, though, isn't it?
yeah. Oh, it takes a lot of bravery and courage to make the decision that we've made. And it doesn't come lightly, and it hasn't come lightly to us.
No.
So, and we've been, like we said earlier, very fortunate that we've had like a mini trial of, not being in your home country for a few weeks in one chunk. So we're very fortunate that we've done that, and we've done that for the last 2 years. So I feel I'm more equipped maybe than than the majority of people. So I feel very fortunate. But the bottom line is, we're going on this journey and we'd love you to come along with us.
Now, I don't know if you've noticed, I drink a lot faster than Debbie. So I think it's time for a tea break. Well, not a tea break, a wine break. And
Or maybe some food.
or maybe some food. And we shall start again very shortly in the third part of this video, because as you can tell, we do like to gas. Hopefully you like listening. If you do, please like and subscribe.